Welcome to this week's episode of the Punk Popcast, where we're going to talk about Mayday Parade, a lesson in romantics. Welcome back to another episode of the Punk Popcast. As always, I am Brad, and I'm here with our other co-host, Jason. Welcome, Jason. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Appreciate it. All right, so Jason, this was a band and an album that you're more familiar with than I am, but I'm actually very excited to talk about it because I thoroughly enjoyed listening to Mayday Parade's "A Lesson in Romantics." Um, I have a lot of notes about like some of the vibes I was getting, and I think I had mentioned this last week that there was a point when I was like, gosh, who does this sound like? I can't figure it out. And I was like, borderline, and not even borderline. I was full on so distracted by it that I couldn't appreciate what I was listening to. I figured it out. We get there. Here we go. All right. Do you want to lead us off, Jason, since this was, like I said, one that you're more familiar with than me?
I let off last episode, so it's
Oh,
your
you
turn.
did, didn't you? Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and get started then. All right. My first one, let's go with Black Cat. We'll start with that. Toward the beginning of the album. Makes as much sense as any. There we go. Okay. So the very beginning of this song, it's the bass line progression, and it actually goes through some of the rest of the song. Um, it reminded me a whole lot of um, Jaws theme Swimming by Brand New.
Oh, I can
You know
see
what
that.
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, like I heard that, and actually it was kind of funny because I had a lot of that. Like I said, a lot of familiarity with this album, based on other things that I've listened to and things that I'm very familiar with. And that was my first impression. I was like, "What am I? Who? Oh, okay." It didn't go into the next part. I'm not listening to Brand New. This is still Mayday Parade. I was wondering if maybe my Spotify or Apple or whatever I was listening on had like defaulted to something that I was more familiar with, you know. But overall, though, it's a great song. It's very catchy. I like the way that the song progresses through. Um, that opening bass line is really what hooked me. Like once I figured out, like I said, got my bearings again. I went back and I started over again, started up again, and I really like the chorus of this song. Though you're like a black cat with a black backpack full of fireworks. I thought that was a cool line. I don't know.
It's got to be a tough one to sing live at first. um, this is definitely one of my favorite songs off the album too. It's super catchy. I love that the lyrics tell a story.
Mhm.
Sometimes lyrics are just a separate thing onto its own, and it's not really saying much of anything other than general emotional stuff. This tells a legitimate story. You can visualize it based on the lyrics. It's really cool.
It is. It's really cool, and it's really catchy too. That's one thing that I noticed throughout this album is that I mean, you talked about in our very first episode that one of the things you like about pop punk is the sing song chorus and the big choruses, and this
Yeah.
album had it front to back the entire way. That it was a really good listen, and especially once it got to the choruses, those big choruses, I was really happy with that. That was something that really appealed to me, and I actually regretted not getting into this band sooner, even though I've kind of dabbled here and there with them.
And the
But
choruses only get bigger after this album.
oh, do they now? I guess
Yes.
I might have to put them into my regular rotation then. More Mayday Parade for me coming, I guess. All right, what do you have next for us today?
Let me see here. Let's go with okay, I'll go with it. Jamie all over.
Okay. And I reserved this one for you when we were making our picks. It's like I can't remember actually if I told you to take it or if I left it for you.
I think you left it for me because you knew I was probably going to take it.
Uh-huh.
Um, this is definitely the song that got me into Mayday Parade. I can tell you, um, Jamie. Oddly enough, my wife's name is Jamie. She had gone out with her girls. I forget where they were going, and I was home, and I'm like at the apartment, and I had the TV on, and I put on just random videos, and this was one of the random videos that came up, and I'm like, I don't want to like this. I really don't. And then finally was like, okay, this is a great song. I love it. I want to hear everything from this band now. So this was the gateway drug into Mayday Parade for me. Was this song? Um, oh boy, and I'm gonna out myself big time on here. Um, I definitely have a playlist of songs that make me think of my wife. Um, and the first song I put on it was this song.
And it only makes sense.
and and of course I've never changed the name of the playlist, so it's just Jamie all over, and it's been like that for 7 years now.
That's awesome. Well, and I assumed that it was like that you called it Jamie All Over because it was one of the tracks on it, and it only makes, like I said, it only makes sense that you would.
It definitely, even now, like listening to it now that we've been married for how many years, it still makes me think of those early days.
Mhm.
um Lyrically, it can actually, even though we never experienced anything in the song makes me think of that time frame. um
Yeah.
so I have a big appreciation for this song.
Yeah, and I totally understand that because there's sometimes I will I'll hear a specific song and it's almost like it'll just like send me back in time to a certain period, like a certain location or a certain event that it's like, whoa, just out of nowhere. And I get it. It has nothing to do with the song as it is so much an event that you actually lived. So I understand that. Um, but I thought this was an outstanding start to the album. It's a great first track. I mean, we've talked about it before. You've got to start strong with that first track. And I felt bad last week saying that Sugar Cult's first track on Start Static wasn't very good, especially after the interaction that we had with the guys from Sugar Cult or whoever runs their social media. I did feel bad about that. But this is an outstanding start to the album. This song is great from start to finish, and it's an excellent way to get going with it.
It is, and that bridge, I mean, even though the bridge is just a slowed down version of the chorus, it's so big and it builds up to that final chorus. It is
Mhm.
spectacular.
Yeah, and I have to say, one of my initial impressions of this song was they actually sounded a lot like All American Rejects, which I've said before. I can't remember if I said that in conversation that we had, or if it was another episode about another band. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I know that All American Rejects kind of get some hate, which I don't really understand, but I enjoyed them when they were in their peak, and that was one of the things that really tied me in and brought me into this. Was like, okay, like I said, familiarity with a band that I truly enjoy, and it got me to kind of center myself in it and to really listen rather than just kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I listen to new things and I tune it out because it's not familiar, which I hate, but that's the way it goes. So,
Right.
but that helped with the familiarity factor for me. So, okay, next track. Let's talk about. We'll save that one. Let's go with "Walk on Water," uh, or "Drown." Um, so this was, I mean, like I said, I was all over the place with the vibes on this album, and this was the one that I was like, "Oh yes, this is it." And so after I figured this out, I went back and started the whole thing over. That a lot of this album reminds me of Cartel. Cartel is known for their really big choruses. They're really clean. I don't want to say heavy guitars, but they're really clean, right?
Yeah.
Um, but also it was kind of like Cartel meets Starting Line for me.
I can hear that. Yeah.
And once I identified that, I was able to actually focus in, and this was the song that did it for me. Was was Walk on Water or Drown.
Yeah, this is a really good song. It's definitely to me it's like a sleeper track because it's not a single off the album, and they have a lot of really big songs on this album, and I don't really see this one get talked about a lot within fan circles. Um
Hmm.
but to me I think this is a solid, I mean, to me I like the whole album, so obviously I think this is a solid song.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
but this is another one of those songs I think their lyrics even then at the beginning part were so strong.
hmm Yeah, and that is one area that I did find was really good about Mayday Parade, especially with this. At least, I mean, this is most of my experience with Mayday Parade, like I said. But their lyrics have a lot of substance. They fit the music because there are times where like you'll be listening to something that's really catchy and really upbeat, but then you go back and listen to the lyrics, like, well, lyrically, this song is really dark, but I felt like they did a good job fitting the lyrics with the tone of the music and the melody and everything, and it all pieces together really well. Um, And I want to say I don't want to say I'm surprised they weren't bigger than they were, because I know that they're a band that I knew about forever. They're plenty big, especially the genre. I mean, they have what, like several million listens on Spotify and everything, so it's not like they're like an obscure unknown band. But I really was like disappointed in myself with not making the effort to get into this band sooner and really explore what they had to offer. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we have 3 more tracks off of A Lesson in Romantics to get into.
9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. Weekly episodes for the entire baseball family where we talk all baseball all the time. Available on all your favorite podcast apps and on YouTube. Come join our baseball family where we do baseball together.
The Another Sports Podcast is the home of sports talk for everyone. Every other week you can catch David and Jason as they talk about all things sports, from current events to classic moments and everything in between. You can find the Another Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and more. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
Welcome back to this episode of the Punk Popcast. We are talking, like I said before, about A Lesson in Romantics by Mayday Parade. Jason has 2 more songs to get to, so let's go ahead and get into him without wasting any more of your time. So go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to go with I'd Hate to Be You when people find out what this song is about. One of the many long titles of songs in this album.
Well, I feel like I saw that and I was like, that is like so heavily influenced by Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco, that's not even funny.
So, real quick, and it makes total sense now that I realize that they're our age. Like, for a long time, I thought they were much younger than us.
Okay.
But they're all in their mid-30s, and now they're dads and have kids and are married. And I'm like, I get it, because when I was that age, anything I wrote had just ridiculously long titles too. Like, it's this age group that we were all in at that time.
Well, it's like I said, it's heavily influenced by Fall Out Boy because they were doing it. It was funny and it was awesome. So why not?
But unlike Fall Out Boy, I think this song's title fits the narrative of the song. And that's a great thing about Mayday Parade is their songs have a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this song starts out off strong. We both go down together. We'd stay there forever. Just try to get up. I'm sorry this wasn't easy. When I asked you, believe me and never let go. Like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
And what did they do? Like, that's the best thing is I want to know who this song is about.
I know that's one thing that always intrigues me with songs like this. It's like, who are you writing about? I'm really curious what this person is like.
Because this
and
could
what
very
they did.
well, because looking at the lyrics, this could very well be a friend, or it could be like a significant other.
Uh-huh.
It isn't like spelled out on which one it is,
Mhm.
but both those kinds of betrayals can both be devastating.
It's true. Yeah. My biggest takeaway from this song was I couldn't get past the guitar melody and the solo. Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. That's like I'm not kidding. Legitimately, that was the part that stuck with me through this entire song. That I was listening to this. Like, in fact, my notes I have all in caps. Great guitar melody, because I loved it. I loved it so much that's what captivated me through the entire song. I couldn't get off of it, to the point that I honestly didn't know what their lyrics were or what they were about, no matter how hard I tried to pay attention to them.
And more foreshadowing, like their guitar work gets better. Like, they're well aware of their craft when they make a song.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah,
they go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's all put together so well, so perfectly. That was one of the things that, and I feel like that's where for me again, where the Cartel vibes come in, because everything is so well mixed, so well put together, that when my buddy and I were trying to write an album, that was one of the things that we were really focusing on. We're like, how well do the guitar parts, the bass line, how well does that all mesh together? Because we don't just want to have a bunch of sound, which, because that's easy to do. We want to have complex and catchy melodies that work together. And that's exactly to me what this song was everything was so perfectly meshed and mixed together that it was amazing.
Yeah, the whole album, I mean, is fantastic in that regards. Real quick, getting back to this song, I love the second verse. I could only sing you sad songs and you could sing along. You could see the melody has been calling out your wrongs. Ouch. Just ouch. That stings. Whoever that's for.
Yeah. This one definitely kind of pushes that knife in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what's going on here. But no, a great song. This is an excellent choice. This is a really good one. The next one that I have, let's see. When I get home, you're so dead. Um, this so there was something here that I heard that I absolutely loved. I have to say, and it's um, but it's again a callback for me. And for some reason, his vocals sounded a lot like. Did you ever listen to Millencolin?
I have not.
Millencolin's "No Cigar" was on, I believe it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Okay.
And so that was like the one song, because other than that song, I'm not a huge fan of Millencolin, but that one song is so outstanding, and I think it was on a snowboarding video that I had too. It's so outstanding that it's stuck with me, and it's one of my favorite songs ever. Um, but they sounded a lot like him. The guy's voice is really unique, and the vocals in this song felt a little bit different. And then as it progressed too, it went into another band that I like a lot. Halifax is what I heard as well, and I was like, the vocals from Millencolin paired with the guitars from Halifax, that's awesome. Like it was a really fun listen to me because it was two styles that I really like and that are very unique that were brought in together into one place, and it was outstanding.
And see, this is the only album with Jason Lancaster on as the second vocalist,
Yeah.
because him and the band went their separate ways like around the time this album came out.
Mm-hmm.
And the drummer now does the second vocal, has been since this album. And Jason Lancaster does have a really unique voice, and
Mm-hmm.
I might have something with him for a future episode. So
Oh, that's a fun little
I
tease.
just thought of something after something we've talked about off the air. So
I think I know what you're talking about because I think I was going to go the same direction. We'll see later when we talk about this because yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. But anyway, because I saw his name somewhere recently and I thought I had recognized it. But anyway, okay, sorry, back to it. But no, this one might have actually been my favorite track on the entire album because, like I said, because of the way that it meshed together two of my favorite styles. So it
it
was
hits
great.
different than the other songs on the album too.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. And that I think that was the big thing is that there was something different about it that I didn't quite notice until like I said, I was making connections to the entire album and none of them were like, ew. It was all like really pleasant and very surprising and made me really enjoy the experience.
I would
So,
say this song lyrically is the closest to Fall Out Boy
mm,
in regards to the Pete Wentz style of writing.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, even just scrolling back through the lyrics right now, like I can see that. Like some of the like the bridge, so pull the trigger, it never gets closer. You want to start over, never start over, pull the trigger, it never gets closer. And then down in the chorus, um, what is it? It says, so say hello to all the boys at the top of this table that you're under, lipstick lullabies. This is sorry for the last time. Like that feels very Pete Wentzian.
Does it? I think that's officially a term we use on the show is Pete Wentzian.
Yeah. I think it's a thing. If it wasn't before, it's definitely a thing now.
That's a shirt in the making, I'm telling you.
I think it probably is. I think you're right. Yep. All right. What do you have to finish us off today?
Well, I'm going with another long title. If you wanted a song written about you, all you had to do was ask. So this to me is one of the best breakup songs of the genre. And that's a big phrase.
That's heavy. That's very
because
heavy.
this genre is made up of breakup songs. But
It's built on breakup songs, not made up of. It's built on.
because there were no making up. I love the bridge of "and you dropped the note and we changed the key. You changed yourself and I changed me. I really didn't see us singing through this. You screamed the bridge and I cried the verse, and our chorus came out unrehearsed, and you smiled the whole way through it. I guess maybe that's what's worse." Like that is telling the downfall of a relationship in one bridge, and that's only part of the song.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. And you know what's funny about this song to me though is that, like you said, it's a big breakup song, but it's also the beginning. Um, started out like "Sick Transit Gloria" by Brand New,
Okay,
which
I'll have to
is
listen to it again.
like a really big like coming of age song, right? As far as like a relationship with a girl. And it's funny that it has a very similar intro um as that song, because it could then be like a sequel, right?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Like,
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
I mean, obviously different bands, I'm sure it's not, but at the same time though, if the influence is there enough, they could be like, let's write a sequel to this. Like, what happens next after that hookup at that party? You know? Like, where does this couple go from there? And I'm looking way deeper into this than what is going on. But that was the connection that I made when I heard that. I was like, oh dang, that's really interesting. And so I obviously got distracted from work for several minutes on this thought, but
You're good. I think one of the strongest lines is, "Well, it's 3 o'clock on Monday morning. I'm just hoping you're not seeing his face." Like, to be awake at 3 in the morning post breakup, can't sleep, and you're thinking about what that person's doing. That's deep in a breakup right there.
yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know that I've ever been at that point just because I haven't been. I don't know, but yeah, that is deep in a breakup. And actually, no, that's a lie. I have been. What am I thinking? But yeah, no, that is like you said, deep in a breakup and like an really heavy situation. And ugh, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
been there, done that.
yeah, been there, done that. Glad I don't have to do it again. So Jason, what would you rate this album at as far as essential pop punk?
I would put it at an 85 because I know what follows up after this.
Okay. That's funny because I would actually put it at a 95 because it was really strong front to back. The only one that I had any issue with as far as the songs go was, let me find it real quick. Oh, what was it? Miserable at Best, which is a good song. Don't get me wrong. It's just so long.
It's so good though.
It is. It's really good, but like 5 minutes is a long time. The other day I was listening to this album again because I wanted to get back on and re-prepare for the episode. And legit, Jason, I got up twice during the song. And I paused it because I didn't want to miss anything. So I paused it, put my headphones down, went downstairs, did what I needed to do, came back up, turned it back on, and then like a couple minutes later I had to get back up and go do something again. And I was like, man, this is still the same song. It is the same song going.
It's a power ballad.
Like, I couldn't believe it.
There are pop punk power ballads, and they tend to be exactly what a power ballad
And you know
is.
what? You're right. You're absolutely right, because there are other songs that I know that and love that are probably equally as long, if not longer. Like, I go back to Cartel. I've gone back to Cartel several times this album or this episode, and yeah, they have like a 15-minute song or something like that. So I guess I have to table that complaint. But that was the one thing that I was just like, man, this song goes forever. This is crazy. But anyway, no, overall though, like I said, incredibly strong album front to back. I will be listening to more Mayday Parade going forward. I'm certain of it because it was awesome.
I think you'll enjoy them.
I'm really looking forward to it. But let us know what you think about A Lesson in Romantics as far as Essential Pop Punk, where we spun it. Was I more correct with 95, or is Jason more correct with 85 because of where they go from here? I'm really curious to explore more of this to see where it goes, because I like to see the progression of a band. Sometimes when bands progress, it's hard at the time because you're not quite ready for it. But when they're like, no, this is the new sound and you're going to love it, like a few years later, you really dive in deep and love it.
And I like where they're going with their music.
Cool. Very cool. And this was released in 2007. So this is like old stuff, right?
Yeah, this was their
So,
first full length. They had an EP
yeah.
before this, but
Cool. Very cool. Well, like I said, reach out to us at on Twitter at Punk Popcast, or you can reach out to me individually, Jojo Cornrow at Jojo Cornrow, Jason at JasonDagX from his Straight Edge days, and we will catch you next week.
adios.